Hello guys, welcome to another exciting episode of our CorelDraw design series. In this video I'll be showing you how I created this flyer from start to finish in CorelDraw software. So if you don't mind, let's get started. But before then, if you've not subscribed, kindly hit the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on post notification so you miss any of the videos I'll be dropping anytime from now. Without having to wait much time, let's get started. So the first things first, click on file, and I'm just going to give it the name we're going to be using. So instead of being generic, I'm just going to give it the name of the flyer itself. And okay, great. So what I'll just do is RGB 5x5, and you know the drill. So let's get started. Double click on the rectangle to have a replica of the same rectangle. So now I'm just going to start with the basics. Going over to my resource file, I'm going to bring this image in first, like this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this or flip it, whichever be the case. Click again, and this time resize from the edge. Make sure when you are resizing your images, you're resizing them from the edge, right? Great. So I'm going to apply the transparency. So it's going to be from white to black, just as you've seen, like this, right? So after you do this, I'll set this aside, right click on it, and click on power clip, and make sure you select the rectangle. Click on edit because you need to move it in place. Edit, move it up, and there you go. Click finish when you're done. So that is the first step, right? Now the next thing to do is I'm going over to my resource file. I'll bring in this image itself, zoom out, use your scroll wheel. Make sure you're using your scroll wheel to zoom out. If you cannot drag and drop, make sure you use the import command as seen, like this. So I'm going over to my resource file, and this is where you just have it. Then click on import. Next thing to do is go over to your transparency, and this time we're going to do the same thing we did for the first image, but only different, right? So we're going from black to white this time. Your image should look just like this. So cut, double click on the rectangle and paste. The only reason why I didn't use power clip here is because I have an image presently inside of the rectangle, so there's no point using the power clip again, right? So to modify this a little more, click on the rectangle to make sure you're holding control when drawing this circle, that's the ellipse too, right? Click on bitmap, convert to bitmap, click OK, go to effect, and select blur, Gaussian blur. You can use my settings for this. And when you're done, click OK, like this. So I'm going to put it inside of this shape also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it covers where I want it to be. Feel as it seems as though the effect is too much, so I'm going back to Gaussian blur, and I'm going to reduce it just a bit. Follow my settings like this. So cut, double click on the rectangle, and when you're inside here, just paste like this. Okay, and also make it bigger like this. Make a duplicate copy of the ellipse, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, but this time hold down Shift while you do something like this. And I'm going to leave this one here like this. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I'm going to turn this one like this, and I'm going to position this also here like this. So when we are done, click out or click finish. Right, so you can see I now have my nice blend of subtle white and orange and yellow background. So let's move over to the next thing. I'll be adding my text to this. Okay, so my text, so I'm just going to type these two things, and I'm going to change my font again. If you're looking for the resource file for this particular video, please check the link in the description of the video itself. Right, so I'm just going to have father's embrace like this. But the first thing I'm going to do is go to object, and I'm going to break them apart. Right, so you have the father apart, then the embrace two apart like this. So select the two of them just like this, and manually increase the size like this. Make sure you're increasing from the edge and not the top and the side. Very important. So right click on the black to add more black to make it more bolder, and the next thing to do is convert to curves. Right, then click on weld to join the two of them together. Still selecting it, increase the stroke like this. So what you should do is go to object and convert outline to object. So what you just did is you just converted the outline to object. Ctrl Z. Select everything like this, and finally click on weld. So as you can see now, everything now has become one shape. So I'm just going to draw and give this color. So I'm going to make different variations of this color. This will be using for this particular design. So this first one is from the background we use itself, which is the orange there. So I'm going to make duplicate copy of this, or with this one I'm going to hold down Control, click on yellow. I'm going to make a lighter version of this. With this one I'm going to click on black to make a darker version of this. Okay, so now you have like the three palettes, which is in shapes like this. So this is what I'm going to be working on. So for the first one, I'm going to apply this color to this father's embrace. So I'm going to select the father's embrace, go to the eyedropper to pick this color, and I'm going to use the pen buckets to bring this color here. Right, so like that's the first thing. So I'm just going to go over to my text too, and I'm going to type this. So this is basically just THE, which is the THE. So I'm going to change the font, taken by vultures. Good. This. So I'm just going to position this here, make it bigger, not too big. I'm going to use this color because that's like the color I use for the father's embrace, right? Good. So I'm going to move this in place. Well, yeah. No, it can't be there. Okay, yeah, I think it's good here. So then again, I'll go over to object and convert to curve. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this extra leg that's poking out here. So go over to your rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle that covers that whole area. Selecting the rectangle, select the text, which is now a shape, and I'll click on trim. You can see, so I've gotten rid of that part. So I'm going to delete this. I no longer have any use for it. Okay, so going over to my text, I'm just going to type a few things here. This is royalty music. I'm going to change the font to Montserrat Black. So that's what I used. Again, give it the same color. So basically we're working on that first color, right, which is the first shade. So I'm going to change this font here now, and I'm going to write something different with this. So it's just present, and I'm just going to use my shape to just extend it. You know the drill. So I'm going to leave this department like this. Let me go on, shift this to the edge a bit. That's too much to the edge. Okay, I'm going to leave this here. So let's move on to the next thing. Yeah, great. So inside of the rectangle, I'm just going to move this downward a bit and click out. Okay, great. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going over to my rectangle, select it, and I'm just going to move this one up here like this, still using the same color, right? And but this time I'm going to mix up the colors a bit. So this is what I mean. So click on G on your keyboard to activate the gradient. Select this white point, select it first, click this drop down arrow, click the eyedropper, and come and select this color, guys. You can see how simple that is, right? So I'm going to change the direction just a bit by dragging and dragging this here, and that sums it up. That's all, right? So I have my nice blend of two colors. Now I'll go over to my ellipse tool, and I'm going to draw something like this. Give it a white, remove the outline of course, and go over to your transparency, draw from white to black. So this area is black and the other area is white. You can see how this has created. So take it out and power clip it inside here. Double click on the container and just shift it inside here like this. You can see how this has made a whole lot of sense. Yeah, click finish just like this. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this text just so I can have something here, but it's going to be different. I'm just going to type a mini string. Wait, change the color of course to white, something you can see, and I'm going to use something more bold, so I'm going to use extra bold. And also I'm going to reduce the size between the text. Use your shape tool to do this. You can see how this has created a nice button like effect, right? Let's now see if you can actually press it, but then it's just there. So next thing you want to do is, or the next thing I would do is I'll select all of this and move it upwards. Select these two and take it upward like this. So going forward, go over to your rectangle to draw a rectangle. Make sure you're on the same line. Alignment is very, very important in designing. I feel like I cannot overemphasize this fact, right? So clicking on this, I'm going to use this color up here, right? So I'm going to remove this. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this rectangle here, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, copy and paste, right? Just like this. Okay, so I noticed that on this part I don't have space. So what I want to do is I'll select all of this and make it slightly smaller. That is too much. And okay, somewhere like this is fine and good to go, just so I have space underneath. And a couple of changes here. Maybe I'll make this bigger along this line here, and move these guys up a bit, and making it smaller too would just do perfectly. Right, so I'll use this to create this shape here. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and you can see I'm continuing with this first shade of this color that I started with in the beginning, like this. I'll make a duplicate copy of this and position this well like this. Okay, so the last rectangle will be on this part here. So I'm going to use the same color like this. You can see how I am sticking with just these three basic colors on my color palettes, though I have not used the first one too much, but then you get the check, right? Great. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring in this guy. Coming in to make a couple of difference in this design. So change the blend mode to screen, and I'm going to be using it here. But before I do that, I want to make some modification to the father's embrace itself. That's the shape, because no longer a text again since we converted it. So put this aside here, make sure it's set to screen, right? Great. Make a duplicate copy of it and bring this one here, but before we place it inside of this father's embrace, right? Let's see, overlay, it's not gonna work, so take it back to screen. Great. And set this aside here. So I'm going to select the father's embrace and hold down Control while you add black to it. You can see now, because I added black to it, I can now see the effects this guy is bringing to the table. Right, so I'm going to power clip it inside of the father's embrace, edit and select it. Right, go over to transparency and reduce this just like this. Great, and click on finish. You can see how little difference this has added to the father's embrace. So onto this, what we'll just do is I'm going to power clip it inside these boxes like this. So I'm going to do for this one, copy this, click out, paste it in here, put it aside, right click, power clip, and do the same thing for this guy here. Okay, so what I'm just doing is I'm just making some modification to this text for the names of those that will be ministering. Okay, so there you have it. You have the names. Before I go on to bring in my images, what I want to do is I'm just going to do a hashtag anticipate here like this. I'm going to change the font to what I used here and blow it up a little bit and change the blend mode to overlay, and that's all. So I'm simply going to go over to my images. I'm going to bring this in first. Again, when you're resizing, resize only from the edges, please. Alright, and before I do that, most times when you bring in an object, go to effect, adjust, and click on auto adjust. So CorelDraw auto adjusts images for you in case you want to print and you have a low image. So what it does is it actually analyzes what you have around inside of your design and to now tell you, okay, this image is too dark, let me lighten this up a bit. Right, so it's very important you do that in case you are designing for print. Right, but if you're designing for screen, most times it comes in handy too. So go in and bring this also, just drag and drop, or you can use the import button. So I'm going to do the same thing to adjust, auto adjust. So slight difference on this image, right, because I believe this image is slightly better than the other image. So I'm going to power clip it inside here, right click, power clip, put it inside. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and bring in my details. I saved myself the time and also the time created using creating this video, so we won't spend too much time here on typing and formatting. So I have my details ready, so I'll just place them side by side, move them up slightly like this, and finally I'm going to add one extra detail to this, make this smaller a bit. So I'm just going to add one last detail to this flyer and then we're good. I'm going to change the color and I'm just going to type. Okay, so there you have it. This brings me to the end of my design session here on this church flyer. If you like this video and has impacted you in any ways, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss anything I'll be dropping.